All right, we are live. Let me get this tweeted out so everybody can get tuned in here. 1 second. All right, well, today is October 17th, 2019. It is Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday, which means weekly option expiration day. So everybody be cautious going into tomorrow. Make sure you don't get assigned any options, okay? Um, good stuff. So as we get started here, just take a moment to review the disclaimer. Everything we're going to talk about today is for educational purposes and not investment advice. Give me 1 second here while folks get tuned in here. We got a watch list from Shirley, so we'll get that as well. Let's see. So we've got a couple of A names. Okay, so we got those. Let me get those typed in here for everybody. Good, good, good. 1 second. All right, let's get tuned in here. So, got a little Roku there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the market. Let's see where we're at. So far, the month is looking pretty good. We've got a green month so far. We're up 8 points today. Um, Great stuff. I mean, so far so good, right? So green on the month so far. A few days left in the month. A couple weeks left here. Let's see the weekly. Right off the real body week, right? Nice green week so far. So that's kind of pushing itself up. So let's see how we finish tomorrow. Let's see, futures are just slightly in the red, but that pretty much doesn't mean anything these days. So, I mean, it could be down 40 points as far as we care at this point. So, daily chart, let's see where we're at. So, daily chart, we've pushed over the downward trend line, right? We're kind of inching our way up right here. So, yesterday we had a doji day off of a big, the big move day, right, on Tuesday, off of that compressed day. So, looks like we might have a little doji sandwich kind of working. I like to see the doji sandwich, kind of sort of toward the top. So at this point it just kind of came out as a spinning top, found a little bit of selling pressure kind of in some old areas here. So we'll see what that does. Let's take a look at the geometric chart. So right now we have our pitchfork and our channel. So right now we're above the support zone. It looks like we are working our way up the channel. But we'll see if it comes back and tests. There's a gap below too. We'll see what kind of shenanigans they have in store tomorrow, because keep in mind, tomorrow is monthly option expiration, so they might be doing some pinning and stuff this week too. So that's always interesting to keep an eye out for. So we have that. Let's take a look at the price action today. These are the levels that we give out to our subscribers before every market open, just to make sure that we have that, because these are key levels that we use to trade with, right? And we use this for other stocks as well. But on the SPX, obviously very, very important to kind of at least get a gauge on where we're at, if not trading it, as well. So real quick here, of course, we can use our trend lines intraday. That's why we have this here. Just a quick point here. We gapped up today. Okay, so we had our gap up, and yep. So we gapped up, and then give a nice push here at the open. Actually, it's really funny. This looks very, very similar to a few days ago, but nice push up, and looked like here after this push up that we would test, at least we'd get a little bit of a gap and go and test the next level, the R3 level, and then it didn't quite get there. Gave a couple top and tails, a couple upper shadows right here, and started to work its way down. At this point, right, we can see that the trend is changing. And how do we know that? We use our trend lines, right? So so one of the keys right here is this. Right here's your breakdown bar, and here's your confirmation through it right here. Okay, and then it started to work its way down, this inside bar down, to test these levels. The levels were pretty tight today, so there's some of the ranges, but they did get tested. Right, we pushed it down here, retested this level, back down, couldn't quite get there, got a lower shadow to that, but at least 50% of the range was tested, back up, and then kind of chopped around these levels today. So not really exciting, right? And it kind of shows on the daily chart, right? We just basically had this spinning top day. So, and it was relatively narrow range. I mean, the range was about 16. Yesterday we had 12, and of course this day we had just less than 10, 9.9. But it's one of the most compressed ranges in a while. So good stuff. Good stuff. Good. All right. So today, appreciate everybody for tuning in. So today we're going to conclude our discussion on the 15 orbs. There's probably some more intricacies to it than what we touched on, but hopefully we covered a lot of the good stuff here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up a couple studies real quick. I'm just going to use our inside bar study, which turns our inside bars yellow. Okay, and I'm also going to put the orbit on. So we can actually, it draws the high and the low of the orb automatically, right? So you can see the high and low right there, okay? And then we can see our inside bars too off of it. So really, really good stuff there. So, a couple key things. So today I want to talk about other tools that we can use to kind of help us. We talked about things like this where we push to the top of the orb, right? We have our inside 15, right? Failed to break to the upside, so likely taking the inside 15 down, tail fail right there to the downside. That we know their inside bar at the 15 orb low and worked its way down, right? So we can see that happening, right? So, but when we're in the thick of it and we're trading, and we're about to put our money on the line, right? We get a little nervous, and sometimes we need a little more confidence, right, in a trade, and so so that's where indicators come in. So one of the things we're probably going to talk about in the newsletter this weekend is basically what indicators are, right? Indicators are just, they lag price, right? They either include some relation to the price, the movement of price, volume, and time, right? So for the most part, they include some sort of combination, some mathematical formula based on that. But what it really all boils down to is what is the price actually doing, and are we as traders able to read it? And that's why we use levels, right? Because it's so important to see how price acts at prior levels, very important levels of interest, gap levels, right? The 15 orb levels, right? Our 60 anchor levels are important, right? All these levels are important, and price likes to test and move between those. And the price can give us clues as to what it's going to do based on its candlestick charts, based on its bar charts, right? And we use this all the time, right? We have our lower shadows, right? We have lower shadow, lower shadow, lower shadow, lower, right? So here, I mean, it's not, it's working on holding a certain level. And what was that level? That level was, basically right here is a prior pivot from yesterday, right? So all these levels like to get tested, and it comes back to the 15 orb, which is basically today's, below the first 15-minute bar, right? And these levels just, continue to get tested all the time. And our job as traders is try to track this, right, and see which way, it's going to go, right? So we can see here, even with our trend line here intraday, right, we had a pivot point right here, close above it, and then move it up to the next level. So we can use this stuff intraday, to day trade. Okay, but in addition to that, sometimes it does help to put a few things on the screen that can give us a little bit more confidence in the trade. Why? Because when our money's on the line and price moves can move really fast, right? We want to make sure we're on the right side of the trade, right? So here's a couple ideas that are, tools that we can use that are out there. They're all built in, to Thinkorswim and to most trading software that we can use to kind of help us. So how can I talk about 15 orbs today without going with the first big high beta tech name that was on our earnings list, right? So today we have Netflix. Okay, so Netflix had a huge gap up there, and look, you can see I've already got lots of levels up here. So I'm going to share these levels with you. These are the levels that I provide to our members every night, every market night, so that we can have these levels as key levels to use intraday. That are used. So these help us focus on potential targets because price likes to go between levels, right? So what do we have? So right here you can see I've already put in this big green box up here. This is the pre-market box, right? So this includes the majority of the aftermarket data, well not the carrier bar right here, but the majority of the aftermarket data and then the pre-market data, right? So once we're outside of this box, right, we could look for setups, right? And so what's a great setup that we like to use? We like to use the 15 orb, right? And so here's your 15 orb candle right here. You can see that in general Netflix was weak. And why was it weak? Because when we go to the daily chart, we talked about this last night, right? Where did we gap to, right? We gapped up here. Did we gap over any gap and go major pivot or anything like that? Not really, right? I mean, we had a lot of resistance right here, a lot of selling pressure here and here. We couldn't even get above this little guy. We got above this guy, but then it came right into this guy, right? So we came into basically a resistance zone. And typically when that happens, unless something major happens, and you can tell they tried, look at all the volume today. Right, more volume than not last, almost as much volume as this and the prior earnings combined. Right, so this is a big volume day for Netflix, and honestly, it was a lot of selling. Right, you can see that it was a lot of selling. We closed red, right, like it pushed down. Look, and you can even see like now the stochastic starting to turn down too. So coming in today, when we looked at it last night, we were expecting some type of reversal on Netflix, right? And so now when we kind of go into the thick of things and things are really setting up, right, what we have is, right, we have this first bar. So what we can see right here is we have this upper shadow right here that is rejecting all the pre-market levels, right? And then that defines the 15 orb low, right? And so basically we're looking at a potential short idea. So what can help give us confidence other than just the fact that the price is doing this, right? What can give us confidence? There's a couple tools that we could use, right? So let's pull a couple things up here. So the first I'm going to pull up is the RSI. Now what I'm going to use is the 60-40 RSI. Okay, we've done lessons on that before, but I'm going to use the 60 and the 40. Right? Because we're not looking for, what we're looking to see if we're in a bullish condition or a bearish condition. If we're under 40, we're bearish. If we're over 60, we're bullish. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there real quick. Okay, so you can see that. Look at that. We're under the 40. Okay, so that gives us a little confidence right there. We're in the bearish territory, so we can look for potential shorts on that. Okay, so we have that. Okay, let's add another. Let's add another one called the DMI. I believe we've talked about this before, but if not, we've definitely talked about the DI plus and the DI minus. So let me put that on here too. Okay, this gives you an idea of trend, right, and momentum within a trend. So when the ADX is over 20, some say over 30, but when it's over 20, we are trending, right? And when the DI minus is over the DI plus, so when red is over green, we're trending negatively. Okay, so we have an ADX that's over 30 and over 20, and we have a DI minus that's over a DI plus. So we are downtrending. Okay, so that's more confidence in that direction. And we could add two more things that are interesting, right? We'll add the VWAP. Okay, which we all know and love. Okay, so we'll add the VWAP, and then we'll add the 5 EMA, right? We've done when we did our crossover series on that, we'll add the 5 EMA. So we'll look for a potential crossover of the 5 through the VWAP. Okay, so 5 is the EMA is going to be blue, and the VWAP is going to be purple. Okay. All right, so we can see right here, before we even started the day, we can see that the 5 EMA was crossing down below the VWAP. Okay, so as long as price stays below, as long as the 5 EMA stays below the VWAP and the price stays below the VWAP, then we're pretty confident. So at this point, we're pretty confident that this thing is ready to go, right? And we can just kind of see how it worked out right there. So the question is, what's the next level we're going to test? Well, of course, we have our floor pivot levels, but we do have an open gap below. So let's see if it eventually targets that. Okay, so it breaks down below the 15 orb. So now we have some distance between levels and flush right there. Oh, look at that, a little bit more. Oh, and then one more. Basically just tag that level and then start to reverse back up. So if it doesn't look like a lot to you, it actually is, right? The 15 order break is 299 and went all the way down to, was the low of this one, was 288. Okay, so almost a 10-point move just on the 15 order break, right? So that was a big move right there. And then of course, things started to change a little bit. See how the 5 EMA is below the VWAP, where we get that nice momentum move, and then it ended up working its way back up to the 15 orb, right? And then it began to just kind of chop around a little bit and then started to test a little bit lower at the end of the day. But that was the move. That was the move at the open right there. And that gave us the confidence to go in that to help to have a couple of these tools on our side, right? That's the one thing about indicators. A lot of folks like to just trade off of indicators, and that's the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is to use price and use what we know about price and how it likes to test levels and how we like to test momentum off of earnings and using our 15 orbs and looking for the right setups, the reversals, all the things that we talked about this week, and then having these indicators just give us a little bit of extra confidence. If all the stars are lining up here, right? If this is bearish here and we're trending down and the RSI is down, we're trending down, and the 5 EMA is below the VWAP, and and the price action says we've got some nice space between levels, right? Then we have to look and consider to see if we can make this trade, right? So number one, before even doing anything, is the risk outweigh the reward? And the answer is it depends on the target, and if the target looks good and it outweighs the risk, then it is that is the number one indicator, is if your risk reward is okay on it. If it is, right, then we're good. And if you're not going into major support or anything like that, or into major resistance. So if all those parameters come together, then it makes sense to take the trade. And you can see this one came down. Some folks in our live stream this morning did pretty well on this one as we walked through it, and had a pretty good day today. So that was really nice. So anyway, that concludes our discussion on using the 15 orbs and using some tools to help us. So at this point, if anybody has any questions there, I'm going to save that set though. I kind of like that set. So I'm going to say the 15 orb tools. Okay, cool. Just in case we need to pull it up again later. So I'm going to remove these studies. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, feel free to play those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can. Try to wrap up by 10:30 so we can all have a good night's sleep and finish up on Friday for Friday Lotto Day. Just remember, tomorrow again is Friday, so be sure to if you don't want to get assigned anything, make sure you close out the options before the end of the day. If you're out of the money, usually you're quite all right. Good stuff. Scott, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see. We've got a couple on there. Snap, J&J, and Vive. Let's take a look. Let's go to the candles. Okay, so Snap. Okay, so Snap is we're working on it, right? So we have our downward trend line right here. We have a couple little minor pivots and all that stuff. So we're waiting for a bullish close above these levels, and then we'll look to possibly, once it does that, we'll look to possibly swing it back to the cloud. Now, by the time it even gets there, unless it got really, really bullish before earnings, we'll probably see something at earnings, right? Sort of like UNH, right? So we'll see if if earnings are good and it gives us a nice candle above all these levels with some good volume, and then we'll look, who knows, maybe it'll give us an inside day and then we'll kind of work its way back up, that type of thing. So that's what we're seeing right now. J&J is a perpetual short in my book, but it is kind of climbing its way up. But J&J is, look how annoying this thing is to trade, man. This unless it gives you a good short setup, right? Just stay out of this garbage, right? But anyway, here you go. You have this to this, right? So that's kind of your trend line right now. So it's out of the cloud. Lots of spinning tops all over the place. Plus it's Johnson and Johnson. So we'll just wait and see if it can kind of hopefully break down here in the future. But the trend is relatively up here until proven otherwise. So yeah. So that is good old Johnson and Johnson. Vive. Let's see, we looked at this on the live stream this evening, or this afternoon. Yeah, Vive is struggling a little bit here. Let's see, so a lot of these cloud type names have gotten hit. So let's see how it came up here to the cloud and came down. We had an inside day today, pretty good volume on an inside day actually. So we'll keep an eye on this. See if in the next couple days we get a bearish close below these levels. We might be able to swing it down to like this 142, maybe even that 138 level. But in general, it is kind of consolidating a little bit. So the macro trend is still down here right now, okay? Because the last trend line, right, the last channel that worked up here is done, right? So it's basically just kind of doing this either corrective pattern or possibly working on a downtrend. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it to see how that does, right? This could be like A, B, C possibly, but we just have to keep an eye on it. Okay, but here's your most recent trend line to the upside. So if we want to get bullish on it, it's got to get over that. So it's got to go over 165 bullishly. But back in the day, though, it gave a couple opportunities back here, right? So, if we kind of clear out all this mess here, you can see there was a downward trend line here, right? Ultimately had a bullish close over here. Looks like increased volume. And look at that. That was the entry bar right there, that guy. I think this is where you talked about it too one time, right when we were in that pitchfork. So, anyway, good stuff. Good. Gia, what's going on? Yeah, it was a great day. I hope you had a good one too. Shop, of course. You love Shop. Let's take a look. So Shop, my friends, gave us a nice drop yesterday, right? We talked about this. I mean, this thing was beautiful, right? It was not only the channel breakdown, it gave a zigzag breakdown right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it gave us an ABC up here, and it looks like it's working its way back down to this wave B right here. So we had a nice doji spinning top day right here at the cloud / channel top / 50% retracement, right? So that gave us that nice move down yesterday. Naturally, after a big day like that, we do tend to pause, right? Unless there's some, other macro factors going on like back here, right? So we have an inside day now. So let's see if that breaks to the downside. We might start to work our way down to this wave B, although it's possible, right? A, B, C. So this could be A. We might see ourselves test this channel one more time, B, and then we could see a possible wave C down right here to finish the wave B, and then we might see another wave back up. So this would be 3, A, B, C, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back up for wave C, and then we should see an explosive move, an impulsive move back down, very, very similar to this type of drop. So we'll keep an eye on that. It might do it off the cloud too. We just have to kind of continue to evaluate. We'll see what it does. If it works its way down here for wave B, we might see like decent earnings to work its way back up here, and then ultimately, I don't know, who knows, some news will come out and then it'll flush again. So we will see on that one. Netflix. So we just definitely reviewed that one. Netflix, basically rejected the cloud today. We talked about not getting over a lot of key levels and then actually closed below the cloud, leaving a very, very small gap here between yesterday and today. So we'll see what it does over the next couple. Tomorrow should be pretty interesting with Netflix. So we'll continue to watch it. It'll be on the 30 orb list for tomorrow, unless we get, a ton of downgrades or something like that on it, tomorrow. So we'll keep an eye on that too. XOM. So XOM, as soon as these come up here, we can see this downtrend right here. Try to break out, cause a minor pivot right here. It hasn't closed above that yet. So now, as it's working its way down, it actually had a very bearish day today. And in fact, this is almost shortable, except the only problem is we have this trend line right here as potential support. So risk reward is about 1 to 1 on that one. So to me, that's not worth it on a swing trade. So that's looking interesting right now. We'll see if it gives some consolidation. PayPal has earnings coming up pretty soon. I believe, next week. Yep, on the 23rd. So it's kind of doing its thing. It's kind of starting to poke its head out of this downward trend line right here. Needs to close bullishly above it. Looks like at this point we just got to wait for earnings to see what it's going to do. And then WBA. I almost took WBA today. I just kind of passed a little bit. It is setting up nicely. We have this trend line right here. It's closing over these levels, so it does have a potential to work its way up to this 58 level. I just kind of hesitated on it today just to just kind of see how it acts tomorrow, see how we go into Friday. But that looks pretty good. Nice stuff, Gia. Dimitri, hello. Hope you're doing well. Shirley's got a couple ideas tonight. So Shirley, don't forget you can open a Gmail account, a different Gmail account, and log in. Just post it without all the extraneous data so they don't lock you out again. ABC's looking really good, Shirley. So nice stuff here. Big candle today. Right, so we have this here, minor pivot, looks like we closed above it here, increased volume, then a nice move up here through the cloud. So, it's bullish until proven otherwise, right? So just kind of keep an eye on that there. Okay, ACM. Hey, Ecom, goodness gracious, these guys. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, kind of doing its thing right here. Definitely working its way up. Yeah, nothing really. It just looks, relatively bullish, and I think, I like how it's holding its earnings gap, right, or its recent gap up. So good stuff on that. AGN. Allergen. Again, Shirley, I would just kind of stay away from this one right here. We're kind of in this buyout potential, right? So I'll just be real careful. They usually stay kind of channel bound. We're a little bit above the channel. I know it looks like it's kind of breaking out and all that stuff. Just be really, really careful with that. So on these buyout type ones. And then Zynga. Yeah, working its way up pretty good here. Kind of getting its way out of the cloud. I like it's over all the fib fan lines, things like that. Where's my trend line? Here. Look at that. We look at that back there. Didn't really give us anything bullish until here. And then it gave a little bit of a swing up. Right, kind of starting to close above these, so it's working its way up. It's bullish until proven otherwise. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. And then plug. Okay, nice. Very, very bullish right here. So, just keep an eye on that trend line. It's a little steep. And what else do we have? One more, EWU. Okay, UK ETF, very, very interesting with the Brexit stuff going on. So at this point, we'll just kind of keep it bullish here for a little bit. So see how it holds that trend line. Good stuff. All right, Shirley, awesome. Hope you have a great weekend. Matthew, what's going on? Good evening. PDD and CNC. Oh, CNC looks so good today. But let's take a look. I didn't get to look at PDD. Yeah, PDD is looking good. It's definitely working on its kind of uptrend right here. Yes, 3 days ago was a nice close with the increased volume over these levels, so that does look like it has a little bit of potential. Bullish still proven otherwise. CNC. I loved how this one closed today. The only thing that had me on this was, and we got earnings coming up, right? So premiums are a little bit high. We have a little bit of resistance type stuff right here. If we closed over all that stuff, I might have done a little earnings swing on this thing, but it does look bullish. A very, very strong close today. I love the volume on it. It's looking interesting. Good stuff. Ambesh, what's going on? Good evening. Facebook and Square. Yeah, let's take a look. So Facebook, it's doing okay, right? It's doing okay. It had a great day a couple days ago. Ooh, these are our levels. It had a great day a couple days ago, right? A very, very strong market. I love the inside bar yesterday, and then it kind of came with hopefully a continuation hammer on this. Just watch out if it's not a hanging man, right? And then comes back and tests the trend line. Okay, a little decreased volume, but still generally pretty decent volume today. So just but all in all, a little bit of a choppy day as it closed with a that northern doji. And Square, let's take a look. Okay, The square is looking interesting. It's starting to poke its head out of this ascending triangle. We had an inside day yesterday, right? To me, I wanted to avoid this to see how it handled the inside day. Now it gave a topping tail off of the inside day, which means it might with volume. So we might actually see it start to work its way down out of the cloud, or it might slide down it here at the bottom, right? And that we usually see that after a triangle. We usually see a push down here, and then it works its way back up. So it could be interesting. We could do that, kind of get up here, and then have bad earnings or something like that. It works its way down. So we'll keep an eye on it. Good stuff. MicroTrader, what's happening? Good evening. What's the difference between yellow, solid, hollow, blue, solid, and hollow? Okay, so all right. So what we do for the hollows, right? So if we use candle trend, right? So if it closes hollow, that's a bullish close, right? So if it closes hollow in green, right? Then it's bullish, right? So hollow red. Do we get a hollow red? I don't think red is ever hollow, is it? Yeah, no. Green is either hollow, which means it closed above its high. Solid means it closed above its low. So basically, here these guys here should be red if I take this off, right? Okay, so these are red candles right here. The reason they're green is because they're above. They closed above the prior day's, I think, low. Okay, so they're green because they closed above the prior day's, I believe, low. This closed above the low. Well, this is red because it's below it. Yeah, so this closed above. Maybe it closed above the prior day's close. So basically, this kind of gives you a trendy type feel on it. So if it's hollow, it's bullish, right? If it's solid, it's kind of bearish, right? And so the yellow bars are inside bars, and the blue bars are outside bars. So those are the difference. And then obviously, solid gives it more of a kind of a bullish feel to it, and or solid gives it kind of more of a bearish feel to it, and hollow gives it a bullish feel to it. That's how we look at it. Good stuff. Let's go back to regular candles here. Okay. NNAMEX, UNH, Uber, and Roku. Yeah, UNH. Oh, what a move. Just glorious move right here. So, we had our trend line down. The earnings gave us a nice entry day right here, right? And even better that they gave us an inside. If we didn't take this one, it gave us an inside day right here, which we tagged today and then launched back up, right? So UNH is looking very, very strong right here. Looks like it may eventually work its way out of the cloud. So that is good stuff. It broke out of this major downward trend line, right? So that is key right here. That was a momentous move on earnings for it, right? So it's a nice Dow darling that continued to work there. Uber. Yeah, so Uber's actually looking pretty good here. A little decreased volume today, so wouldn't have swung it there. Might have swung it on this day right here, but I think I was waiting for just a little more power on it. So at this point, it might work its way up to the cloud. While we're at it, I almost took lift overnight. I like the bullish close on this one as well, but I'm willing to give it another day just to kind of see what it does. But it's looking very, very strong here. Who knows? They might give a super upgrade and it gaps up and I missed it. But I love the increased volume on this one. I like how it closed. It looks like a little bit cleaner chart with a little more room to go than Uber. So I do like Lyft over Uber just in terms of the chart. And then Roku. Roku's interesting here, right? So it was very, very similar to Shop, but I'm not so sure this channel here is really does this justice. So I might have this whole kind of count type thing wrong right here. So right now it is working on an impulsive move up, right? We can tell because it is bound by this channel here. So we'll see if that continues or how long that continues. Okay, but right now I think this breakdown is actually a little bit more interesting. One thing that does concern me is hold on, my computer is deciding to think here for a minute. Hopefully we don't get what we had last night, which was like just I had to restart everything. It's weird that it only does this at night. I run this thing all day, and I have live streams going, and I've got like the Zoom recordings and the webinars and all that stuff. And just wait right till we get at night when it starts. And there's not even live data coming through. It's all like static data that it's pulling. And then I've looked at these charts before, so you'd think that there would be no big deal with it pulling up this information, right? But But we wait anyway here. Oh, there it goes. Came back to life. Okay. So yeah, so we'll see. I think maybe this channel was a little bit maybe wrong. But the move down is certainly looks like a 1, 2, possibly 3, 4 or 5. This could be an impulsive move down here, right? And then now what it's working on though is curious, right? We actually took a nice swing long here, took some good profit on it, but gosh, it really kept going, which is really great. So at this point here, we'll just kind of look and see this. Actually, this channel represents the trend line too, so we'll see how it holds that. If it does break down below there, we'll look for possible setups down. It's got earnings coming up, in a couple weeks, so we'll see how that goes. At this point here, just trying to look and see. It does look interesting. I almost want to just do this real quick. Hold on. From this low to this high. Just interesting see how it holds this fit band. It does look like it's kind of doing an upward kind of megaphone type formation. See how it holds a couple of these levels. It is looking interesting here. If anything, if this could be working on wave 2, it might work its way up to the 0.618 retracement, the 61.8%. So this is an interesting level up here for us to kind of keep an eye on. If it is, then this could have been like a wave 1, and it could somehow be working on a wave 2, which could be A, B, C. It could give us a little bit of some funk for a couple of weeks, and then might have to sort it out till after earnings. But in the meantime, we'll just continue to trade it with our trend lines and our setups that way. So I was just trying to get an accurate count on it, but I don't think it was breaking down out of a channel originally. So very, very interesting stuff there. Good stuff. Robin, what's going on? Spy, Death Cross. Let's take a look. Which Death Cross are you thinking about? You're thinking about the like the 50-200? Like that's usually the one. That's like the big one that everybody talks about. Let's take a look here. So we've got. Let's see the. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it depends. It depends on which ones you're looking at. So at this point, though, it's it is up here, right? So it's continuing to work its way up right here. So we're basically very, very similar to SPX, right? There's our trend line, right? The trend is working its way up, right? So we'll just have to see if it can hold this macro trend line for a little bit. That's really kind of the key right there. Disney, great question. I'm happy you asked. So Disney, looking interesting here. So Disney, basically it was interesting today, right? So here's our macro trend line down, right? And so we could see here it's starting to put in a little bit of a blip above that. Gosh, I have so much stuff on this thing. So it's starting to put a little bit of a blip above that. So it is approaching the no, I don't want to do that. It is starting to approach. I don't want to do that. Remove state. There we go. It is starting to approach that 50-day moving average, so that is something to look at. But a nice little minor pivot right here over this trend line. We'll see if we can close bullishly above it. Again, the cloud is really tight right up here, so we'll see how it deals with that over the next couple days. Ooh, Starbucks. That's a good one. I don't know why this is not permanently on my. I didn't check this recently, but it's trying. It's trying here. So let's get these. So here's your trend line. Here's your pivots. We'll look to see if it closes bullishly over those levels. I don't know why it keeps on coming up. No, it's on here. I just glanced over it today because it wasn't really setting up. But yeah, so we'll see if it closes eventually bullishly over this level, right, with some increased volume, and then we'll see if we work our way back up to the cloud. Manesh, what's going on? No, thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. Manesh, what's up? Can we take a look at NVIDIA, Baba, and Apple? Yeah, let's take a look. So NVIDIA, if you guys saw my tweet earlier, NVIDIA is putting in a lot of upper shadows here at this level, which means it is likely rejecting it, right? So it got over this pivot right here, okay, and it's coming up into like kind of this gap resistance, right? It filled the gap, and now it's just like, I don't know if I want to be here, right? That type of thing. So we're seeing a lot of pretty big upper shadows here, so we'll see if that gets any follow through the downside. Okay, got an open gap below now and a closing gap below. So we see that coming there. Okay. Good. And Baba? Let's see, Baba. Okay, yeah, Baba's getting bullish here. Okay, so it's holding this level. I like this close right here. I just wish I had a little bit more volume, and it seems to be still decreasing volume right here. So I don't know. It's like a little sketchy right here. Let's see how it holds this trend line. Just be careful with that. Nothing really definitive at this point. Apple. Apple, interesting. Like it's just kind of been chopping around a lot this week. Got tons of upgrades last week to try to give it as much momentum as it could to get to new all-time highs, and it has achieved those all-time highs. So right now it's just kind of like consolidating a little bit. So again, we'll see how it holds. I mean, we've got like a really teeny type trend line right here, but we'll see if we can get above that and then start to get bullish over there. So. It is overall macro bullish until proven otherwise. So, but it is worth keeping an eye on those levels. So we got that. So bull flag on the daily for Apple. Yeah, if you go like this, it's a little bit of a flag. A little bit of flag type zone. So it might test the bottom of it, kind of work its way up. Sure, good. I like it. Bull flag for Nvidia on the 1 hour, and then you said bear flag possibly on Baba. For a bear flag on Baba, yeah, you'd have to look at this. Right, that would be your bear flag right there. So that is possible. Nvidia on the hourly. You said a bull flag on the hourly. It could be. It's getting a little bit extended right here, but yeah, it could be working on that a little bit. So starting to, if it is, it's at the bottom of it right here, trying to work its way back up. So that's a possibility there. If it did come up there, just be careful as it holds these levels, just because it's a lots of selling pressure in that area so far. Good stuff. Was Roku a doji sandwich? Yeah, it was. Good. Thanks for asking that, MTM. Yeah, so Roku was a doji sandwich. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I meant to mention that earlier. Yeah, so had a nice move up. Thank you. Great eyes on that one. Nice pause, nice doji right here, and then another move up after that. So those are legit. They're legit. Nice doji sandwich on that one. Good. Great. Thanks for pointing that out, MTN. Experience and thoughts. Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Do you think Roku run kept going because of option expiration? All like the factors that go on behind the scenes like that. I don't really. I try not to pay too much because option flow could mean anything, right? It could be people hedging, and even if people think that they lose, they're actually winning because they have stock on it and all that stuff. One thing you could do is you could pull up here in Thinkorswim. You go down here to the option time and sales. No, not the time and sales. You look at the statistics, and see if your calls are more than your puts, right? So there are, today, yeah. So here we have more calls than puts on this, right? So in general, I mean, it's bullish, right? You'd think it would be kind of counter to that, but product depth, you can kind of go here too, and just kind of see where, everything is kind of lining up, right? Where all the volume kind of comes in. So this 130 level is, pretty congested here on the calls. So, it's, some folks thought I thought it was going to get to 130 and it did, and it's actually beyond it right now. We have a lot of volume kind of back down here too on the puts too. So some folks are betting that it goes down, some are betting that it goes up, and we'll see. You can see the open interest right here. The calls, you got 244,000 calls, you got 210,000 puts. So normally you'd think that the market makers would want whoever has more open interest to lose, right? So we'll see. We'll see exactly how that plays out. But in general, I try not to have that sway my opinion on what the charts are actually saying, right? And the stock volume itself, predominantly controls the price. Although options after, once they get assigned, can start to get affected a little bit. But again, I prefer to look at charts and then see what the potential levels and the targets are on that, on those charts there. So. Great question there, though. Shop and Diz. Let's take a look. Shop we just looked at. So again, beautiful short area right here off of the cloud and off of the channel and the top of the bear flag, right? We have an inside day here. So at this point with an inside day, right, we really can't tell. We have to kind of gauge the price action tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if it worked its way back up to the channel one more time before coming down. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it started to continue this move down and then gave another move up and then back down to try to get this wave B. And then we might see great earnings on it to work its way up to wave C. Even if the earnings aren't great, it might still give us a big reversal on it. Kind of like Costco. And then Diz. Yep, Disney too. So interesting stuff. It did give us a little minor pivot here, a little poke above the trend line. So we'll see if that starts to get bullish over the next couple days and close above that and work its way up to the cloud. Sarah, good evening. I hope you're doing well. Good evening, everyone. K-Man, MC Gaming, what's up? Hey, can we look at Netflix, Amazon, Roku, Apple, and Shop? Yeah, those are all that's all the go-to list right here. So, yeah, so Netflix. Again, very, very similar here today. Bearish day today, guys. I wouldn't be, when you ever see a red candle like this and big volume like this, it's definitely worth looking tomorrow at the 30 orb. We're looking for some setups intraday for shorts. Okay, there's a lot of selling pressure today, so we might get some follow through tomorrow. So that is something very interesting to look at. Amazon. Amazon actually poked its head out of its downward trend line today. You can kind of see that here. So we'll see if that holds, right? So at this point, we'd look for a bullish close above it with some increased volume, right? We got some cloud here. We got earnings coming up, so it's kind of like, yeah, really, really tough, kind of tough to say right there. Roku, we've been looking at a couple times. Again, we'll just look at it one more time. Obviously, it's bullish until proven otherwise. And Apple, we took a glance at. Again, possible bull flaggish right here. We'll see if it gets above those levels. And then Shop. Right, so we just looked at that too. Same thing, inside day, see if we can work its way up to the channel here. If it fails there, it might work its way back down, or this could just be a pause before it works its way back down out of the bear flag right here. So kind of big stuff right there. Good. Trader VR, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Crowd, thanks for asking that. So CrowdStrike, this thing is so bearish. I looked at getting puts today. I love how it is closing over all, I mean, it's basically at all-time lows right now with a bearish candle with increased volume. This thing looks like it wants more downside. I was looking at possible strikes. I think I looked at like the 45s, but they were a little bit expensive because I think they only had, what do they have? They're a little bit expensive. They were, it was okay. I can't remember. There wasn't a lot of volume on it. There wasn't a lot of open interest on it, but it does look very bearish. In fact, let me add that to the game plan for tomorrow. That's so bearish. That deserves to be. 1 second. Okay, so if we think in, good. That's not there. Good. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's good for now. Good. Yeah, so that's CRWD. Netflix, we just looked at there a couple times, but Netflix, wouldn't be with the bearish candle today and all that volume, I wouldn't be surprised to see a setup for us tomorrow, possibly using the 30 orb. And it's Friday, so we might get a little bit of a fast move on it too, which would be pretty cool. Good. Twitter. Twitter, I haven't looked at that in a couple days here. Yeah, just kind of still blahing around here. It's here's your downward trend line. It's still below that trend, right? It looked like it might have been trying to work its way back up to it, but at this point, right, the trend is down until proven otherwise. And dust. Woo. Okay, I know we've looked at this recently. Big macro downtrend line right here. There's your trend line right here. So it's trying to do something. It's trying to get back up to this trend line. Now, is it going to chop all the way to it for a while? Maybe. We'd have to see like a big bullish candle close over all this stuff, right? For it to make sense. So we'll continue to monitor. Very nice. Experience and thoughts. STNE and Etsy. Yeah, we looked at Etsy a little bit earlier, right? You can see that upper shadow today, just not bullish enough to try to start to work its way back up yet. And then Etsy. Same, it just got to close above these levels here, a little bit more bullish. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe get a little earnings run off of it. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like that. So we'll keep an eye on that. K-Man MC. Oh, I forgot McDonald's and Twilio. Let's take a look. Wow, McDonald's. Whew. Whew. Now, McDonald's was in a huge. We've been watching. This is a great one with Elliott Wave. We talk about this all the time. Huge channel up here, right, as it continues to break down. Now, this breakdown here is not a zigzag, right? This is definitely looking like more of like a flat type setup right here. So to me, let's see. If anything, this could be like sort of like this kind of A, B, C, 3A, B, 3, 5, 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5. Let's see how it does after earnings. If it's bearish after earnings, like it has bad earnings, it could continue to work its way down in like a potential impulsive move down. So that's definitely worth watching. Good. And then Twilio. Okay. Yeah, so Twilio here put its minor pivot right here. It's still below it. So hopefully, hopefully it puts in more lows so we can shift this trend line and can try to start to get normal again. But right now it's in a tough spot. Tough spot. In fact, it actually could be shortable, right? Because it came back to the trend line. So let's see if it closes bearishly below, some of these levels, right? And then, it could work its way down into earnings. Then maybe earnings will give it a pop or something like that. Good. No, good charts. NetPry, what's up? Chance of Netflix hitting 305 tomorrow. Let's see. Oh, that's going to be a tough one. NetFry. 305? That's going to be very tough. Very bearish on this. With this candle closing below the cloud, all this volume on this huge red candle. I think it's going to at least fill the gap finally. It couldn't quite get there today. Fill the gap here, and then it may continue to work its way back down. It's just is kind of weak like that at this point. So yeah, this is just like almost it just looks a little bit of a pullback in a macro downtrend, slight correction. We'll see. I hope it hits it if you're long though. Experience thoughts. Cost. Yeah. Cost had a great close today. Sorry, had a great bar today. It just didn't get the number. It just didn't get the volume on it today, right? I love the candle though. It looks like it could eventually work its way up to those highs and probably get to all-time highs. So I'd love to see a pullback on this back to these levels so we can get another entry, but probably not going to happen on Costco. It's got a VWAP for life. That's right. Experience thoughts. NVIDIA, CMG, and SHOP. So NVIDIA. A couple upper shadows right here. It's basically on some gap resistance right there. So we'll see how those upper shadows hold. We did look at the possibility. Minesh, talked about the possibility of bull flag on the 60, so that is possible. So we'll keep an eye on that too. CMG and SHOP. Oh, what was that? You can tell it's getting late, right? My finger's not even typing the right buttons right there. So CMG is looking interesting, right? We continue to look at this. As it every time it pulls back, right, to this fib fan line, it likes to bounce, right? So it gave a nice push up today. So we'll see. It's kind of doji-ish right here. It might come back and retest it again tomorrow. We just have to kind of keep an eye on that. So tough to day trade though. And then SHOP, of course. Again, that yesterday, 2 days ago, that doji right there, it looked just beautiful. It's like four levels of confidence. You had the 50% retrace, you had the cloud, you had the upper channel here, and then you had the bear flag top, right? And then, of course, it matched all the Elliott Wave parameters too. So for a nice, big move down yesterday, and then today just kind of gave an inside day. So we'll see if we get any continuation on that to the downside. Good stuff. Amar, what's going on? Facebook? Yeah, a little bit of a what was it, like a little northern doji today, type thing. So pretty decent volume on it. So we'll see if it can continue this uptrend here and try to work its way out of the cloud. And Baba, of course. I liked Manesh. I also like this that kind of bear flagish idea here on the daily. It's just tough. Like Baba's a really tough one to trade, guys. And I'm not seeing any real clear setups at this point, right? We need to see some bullish closes over some key levels. So it just doesn't do that, and it likes to gap around a lot. So, hi all, hey Amar, Sean, ATBI. Let's see how that looks. it's just not giving us the setups, right? So it keeps on trying. I mean, this was pretty close right here, but it was decreasing volume. Seeing a lot of upper shadows right here. It just seems like I don't know, these gamer stocks are just tough to get like an ultimate breakout. It did kind of start to work its way up here, but needs a little bit more love. And Vids, what's up? Netflix dropped with the high volume of the close. I know. What does it mean for tomorrow? Tough to say. It's tough to say what these institutions do and these algos do at the end of the day, right? And what it means into the next day. Like, I try not to read too much into it because I mean they just slam that volume in on everything, right? We have a big volume right here. I mean, look at I mean everything usually pushes into the close. It's not usually not as big as the open. Look at IWM today though. This is crazy. This was just drove me nuts because it's like I was looking at it had no volume all day today, and then boom, look at this. It goes like 1.7 million at the close, right? And then it drifts down after. I mean, it really there's no rhyme or reason to it, but there. I mean, it's real. I mean, these are real transactions, right? So, but the question is, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to, just get a position for it because they think it's going up? But anyway, I wanted to see more volume today, and they pushed it right into the close with that. So it's tough. I wouldn't read too much into it though. Just continue to look at the charts and look for setups. So yeah, Thomas, what's going on? Lyft, yeah, I love Lyft. Well, I'm loving it. It's looking pretty good here. I wanted to give it just a little bit more time. Just to kind of see how it holds this level, make sure it doesn't top out there and then come back. But between this and Uber, I like this chart a lot better. I love how it closed bullishly with increased volume. A little bit of an upper shadow. It would have been nice to see a little bit more solid bar. But it's working on it. It's working on it. It's starting to do something. BMY. BMY. Let's see. Wow, it does look like it's kind of channeling up right here. Well, we haven't looked at this one in a little bit, but fresh high, fresh trend line. So the trend is up, right? So, but we could look here kind of comparatively. If we do a channel like this, it's looking pretty good. However you want to do it. It's getting kind of the top of the channel right there. So see kind of how it handles that, and then might kind of bounce off of it a little bit. See if there's any setups up there. And then AbbVie, yep. So looking good in the neighborhood. Let's see. Generally macro trending is down, but it's getting over it, so that's good. Here. Okay, so we're starting to break out over these levels right here. So now let's see if it can close bullishly over that guy. That's really the key right there. If we can close bullishly over that, right, we might see a little bit of a run on it with increased volume. Thomas D, what's going on? Amazon and Overstock. And I don't know, but I see a bear flag on the weekly chart of shop. I do too. I see it on the daily, for sure. Amazon. Again, Amazon just kind of poking its head out of its downward trend line, thing right here. So we'll see if we can get bullishly over that. Maybe it'll try to do an earnings run. OSTK. OSTK, interesting, right? Sharp drop right there, not giving us any really bullish signals yet to get over these levels. So it looks kind of choppy right now at this point. What else? Yeah, and then so shop again, like we said, like here's the daily, right? You can see this flag right here, that bear flag right there, right? And the weekly, same thing. Definitely seeing it. So it looks like we are poised for another drop down. Okay, I do think it'll come back up, and then will give us a really sharp move down, maybe to even 200. Just not yet. I think it's going to come here. I think earnings are going to give a reversal, and then I think it's just going to be done. But that's just my theory, based on Elliott Wave. But MTN, yeah, my pleasure. Nikolai, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Amar, what's up? TGT, would I touch this? Can't touch this. I mean, it's bullish up here. I mean, there's really not much else we could really say, right? I mean, from the earnings gap, we've got this, right? From down here, we've got this. I mean, everything up about this thing is, generally bullish, and it's, continuing to build, right? So for me, but I just can't buy at all-time highs. I would need to see some sort of pullback, right? Maybe we can see a pullback to this line, right? And then we'll catch like a trend line there, and then we'll look to swing it back up to all-time highs. It's just so tough to chase right there. And the volume is okay. It's just not really, it's not huge, you know. So kind of generally looks like the average is kind of decreasing a little bit, but it is bullish. I just can't touch it right there. So AM vids, yeah. So the 30 orb is exactly the same as the 15, but we use it the day after a big gap on news. Sometimes it allows things to flush out a little bit more and gives us some more clarity. So that's all. Same thing as the 15. You just switch it with the 30 for the next day. Unless there's like some crazy upgrades or downgrades on Netflix that's causing it to gap again tomorrow, then we'd go back to using the 15 orb on it. So, Dynasty, yeah, Regeneron. What a huge move. We looked at swinging this one too, using our trend lines, and it gave that good move, right? It was really expensive, right? So it did give a move right there. So let's see. It looks like it's actually kind of forming a little bit of a bull flag right here. So just kind of see how it handles that, right? It might retest the cloud, and we'll keep an eye on it. Can be expensive though. Well, good. All right, guys. Well, good stuff. That was a great. Really enjoyed talking about the 15 orbs this week. I thought it was really appropriate to talk about in earnings season, right? Because we're seeing a lot of gaps, and we're seeing some more gaps on stocks, right? Netflix and stuff like that. So, kind of shows us how to manage it. Kind of gauge our trades, and gives us some key levels to really work with intraday, and then we can find those setups in it, within the 15 orb to look for reversals, and then of course, like today, we could use some indicators to help us kind of gauge the strength of it and stuff like that. So good stuff. I really appreciate you guys. If anybody is new here, please feel free to please subscribe. Click subscribe on the on YouTube, and because we do this every market night, and sometimes we do get some really good guests on, and we talk about lots of cool topics. And be sure to check out the links in the description. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your night and a blessed weekend. And I'll see you guys Sunday night. And remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.